So recently, there was a little bit of a debate about which Superman movie was better, the new Superman with James Gunn or the Man of Steel movie from Zack Snyder. And I just want to say something. I'm a little mad I didn't get invited to this conversation. I'm a nerd too, you guys. Come on, jeez. And first off, I feel like people are missing the point of this conversation, right? The question is, which movie is better, not who would win in the fight. I see a lot of people trying to say who would win in the fight. So we're not going that direction. Instead, I just want to take both movies and analyze them at their core. So let's start off with the thing I don't like about both movies. And they're going to fall under a problem that I'm going to categorize as the I came out after Iron Man, so I have to try and build a universe quick problem. That's too long of a name, so I'll come up with a name for it later. But essentially, now every movie for some reason has to build a cinematic universe. And you've seen it before, like I said, you've seen it with Iron Man and the Avengers, or you've seen it with Man of Steel and the Justice League, or you've seen it with Star Wars now has a cinematic universe where even Han Solo somehow gets a solo movie. Holy crap. By the way, I'm doing this voiceover over a Superman coloring book I did because, I just wanted something cool to watch while I was talking about this. So there's going to be a little bit of interruption where I talk about my process, but that's beside the point. Okay, but the irritating part is that both of these movies have this problem where they're trying to build a cinematic universe to try and catch up with Marvel instead of trying to be their own thing. Like, why did the new Superman movie have to have the Justice League in it? And why did Man of Steel have to immediately follow up? The sequel had to be Batman v Superman, which also included Wonder Woman and cameos by the Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman. See, none of that makes sense to me. Well, it makes sense because they like money, but, still. And so for the other thing I don't like about both movies, I'm going to take it one at a time. Okay? First, the Man of Steel movie. I feel like DC has a serious Batman problem where Batman Begins was popular. And so they tried to redo that, but with Superman, you'll see it in all the editing where they tried to tell the story backwards, show him as an adult, and show him as a kid. They did the same thing in Batman Begins, and it's kind of like, I feel like with Batman Begins, it works because Batman's trauma mainly starts from when he's younger. But the main issue with that is that you have to learn to balance between the two, and I feel like the Man of Steel movie should have done its own thing. Also, I feel like Zack Snyder is a great director. He directed things like 300. He directed, of course, Man of Steel. And I think this movie is a great in the visual aspects. He's really good at the visual stuff. But I feel like he doesn't put as much emphasis on the storytelling, which is why it borrows so much from Batman Begins. And I'm not going to say it's a bad movie. I actually do like both of these movies. Deciding which one I like better does depend on a lot of these things. And I just feel like if we're looking at them side by side, you do have to point out the negatives, which are the new movie did do a lot better when it came to storytelling. But, and there's a big but here, it falls behind and it lacks in what I think is a key area. And that is, you have to tell a story. And this one feels like it's a giant episode of the TV series where Superman is just handling random problems. and all the problems feel like they're not linked. Like right off the bat in the new Superman movie, there's like this giant monster that attacks, and but in the words of Maxwell Lord, it's good, but it could be better. Good. The blues are done. I'm gonna work on the reds next. But I noticed I don't know if that's a mistake here, because that's obviously not part of the leg, but not thematically, but it can't be part of the cape either, because the cape is all the way up here. The cape isn't gonna shape itself right here. So I need to figure out what to do with that. Maybe I'll turn it into a background or something. It's been a while since I've done a background on a colored book page. All right. Also, the complaint I have for both of these movies, all the Superman movies for some reason keep on going back to Lex Luthor, and I personally hate that. And I know Man of Steel used Zod and it didn't have Lex Luthor, which I think is a positive on Man of Steel's side, but they did end up using Lex Luthor again in the sequel. So I'm just gonna say it outright. We need more than Lex Luthor. We need someone like Mongol, or we need Brainiac. The fact that we have no big screen versions of Brainiac kind of bugs me a little bit. I feel like Brainiac would be a great villain to bring to the table. And even Mongol, bring on the War World. Give Superman something other than a regular bald dude to fight. But that complaint aside, which movie do I think is the better one? Well, I think it's obvious that I still haven't listed what's good about them yet. Gosh darn it. But the good thing about both of these movies, so we'll start with Man of Steel. Man of Steel is a great origin story, and I think that's my main beef with the new one or the argument that people have about the new one. A lot of times they point out that in Man of Steel, that was Superman's first day out, and he's able to take on multiple Kryptonians. Meanwhile, this Superman struggles with one Kryptonian. I think that's a good critique when you consider he's been in the fight for 3 years, but I also think it would be boring if he just beat Ultraman right out. But my main thing that I like about Man of Steel would have to all come from the fact that it felt natural. Like, it felt like it was trying to be a good movie. Whereas the new Superman movie, the James Gunn one, feels like it's more trying to be a comic book lover's wet dream. Where if you watch it, every frame feels like it's pulled straight from the comic. And you know what? I will not fault it for that. I think that's a great thing. And I also think people were trying to say this one was more political. I don't think it was. Okay, so the reds are done, as you can see. So I decided to just end the cape here. And after ending the cape here, seeing that this is just a straight line, I might do a building right here. And since he looks like he's in the middle of battle, I'll see if I can fit maybe some parademons in there. So, yeah, won't be able to fit a big villain like Darkseid or anything because it didn't leave me enough room. And even the parademons is a maybe, or maybe I'll just add a destroyed city in the background. Yeah, let's get to it. So both of these movies do have their positives, with the main positive usually coming from the fact that each director played to their strength. James Gunn is a really good storyteller. When you watch Guardians of the Galaxy, or when you watch Suicide Squad, you could tell he's a big fan of the comics. You could tell he's a big fan of these characters. He finds a way to fit them in and do them justice. Zack Snyder is a big fan as well. If you watch Man of Steel or you watch Batman v Superman, you'll notice that he leaves a lot of nods. But I will have to say the better of these movies, the best Superman movie, is the 1977 one. Come on, you guys had to think it was that one. But here's the thing. Here's why the 1977 one, in my opinion, still holds up. Because it wasn't really trying too hard to win an Oscar. It wasn't trying too hard to be the best comic book movie. The entire goal of the movie was you will believe a man can fly. And I'm going to be honest, going into both of these movies, I didn't really feel a need to watch them again. I didn't really feel a need to go back to them. But with the 1977 Christopher Reeve Superman, I feel a need to go back to it every time. Why? Because it is hopeful. Like, don't get me wrong, with Zack Snyder's Superman, it was cool seeing all the action and all the visuals and things like that. And like I said about James Gunn's Superman, it is nice, and it's nice to see the comic book pop out of the page, but the 1977 made it pop out of the page better. And that Superman wins you over without throwing a single punch. Watch the movie again. I guarantee you that Superman does not punch anybody. He doesn't get into like any major fights. It is a movie full of him just saving people, being himself. It is the Boy Scout movie. And I feel like that's what we need a lot of times. We need that hope. We need to believe that a man can fly. And I rewatched it recently, and it still holds up. And that's the main thing about a movie. A movie does need to hold up. I tried rewatching the Man of Steel movie, and I kind of just found myself on my phone a lot of the time. And don't get me wrong, I still think Man of Steel is a good movie. I still think the new Superman is a good movie. But I feel like with the new Superman, I didn't feel the need to go back and rewatch it when it was finally on HBO Max. And even worse than that, I really did not feel like I enjoyed it as much as I did the 1977 one. So that is my opinion. Which movie did you guys think is better? Did you guys enjoy the new Superman? Did you guys enjoy the Zack Snyder Superman? Let me know. Alright, so that is the end of this one. I ended up not adding a parademon and just doing the buildings in the background. To which the buildings, I think, fit pretty well, especially since he's flying in at this angle. And, yeah. This is my first time in a long time doing the background. I think it was my second Color and Look page, the Hulk one, where I added a background. So, if you guys enjoyed this, let me know by leaving a like. And, yeah, bye.